Hey, what's up guys, how you all doing? I'm Paul the Tech Giant and welcome back to the channel, where today I've got another great TV comparison for you. And the two TVs that I'll be comparing are, up top, the 65-inch TCL C7K QD Mini LED, and down the bottom, the 65-inch LG C5 OLED. Now this should be a very interesting comparison because on the one hand we have LG, which are very well known here in the UK with their OLED technology, but a price tag of over £2,000. And then we have TCL, not so well known here in the UK but are very big everywhere else in the world, and they are coming to the fight with their QD Mini LED technology and a price tag of sub £1,000. So can a lesser known brand with a different technology and a cheaper price tag compete against a well-known brand with OLED technology and a higher price tag? Well, we're going to find out, because in this video I'm going to be comparing the picture, the sound, design and features. Okie dokie, let's crack on then. And first off, we're going to take a look around the outside of the box. And unfortunately it's box, not boxes, because there's been a mishap with the LG's box. But with me knowing LG OLED TVs very well, I'll be able to tell you how these specs compare. So anyway, let's go in a little bit closer. And obviously this is a TCL which is running Google TV. Moving across, and we can see that this uses QD Mini LED technology, where the LG uses OLED. Moving down, and it says precise dimming series 1008 zones, so that's a lot of dimming zones, but the LG can turn on and off pixels individually. Just across from that, and we can see HDR 2600 nits. That is super bright and should be far brighter than the LG. Then Crystal Glow HVA panel. Moving down from that, and it says AI PQ Pro processor. That's a proper tongue twister right there. Then QLED, 144Hz native refresh rate, which is exactly the same as the LG. Then we have ultra slim design, Game Master, multiple eye care, and then Dolby Vision IQ. And again, at this price point, that is very good. The LG has Dolby Vision. Now moving down, we can see Google Cast, works with Apple AirPlay, works with Apple Home, which is the same as the LG. Then it goes on to say about the audio by Bang & Olufsen. And again, at this price point, that is very impressive. Then we see it's 65 inches, Hey Google, and hands-free voice control. So some very impressive specs there for both TVs, and putting these screen technologies aside, I'm amazed that the TCL manages to match the specs of the LG and then some. Continuing on with these specs, and let's now talk HDMIs, and it is good news because both TVs have 4 HDMI 2.1 ports, which is pretty astounding, especially for the TCL when you've got the likes of Sony who only put 2 on their top of the range OLED TVs. So if TCL can do it on a TV under £1,000, then why can't Sony? Let's now talk operating systems, and starting off with the TCL, which runs Google TV. Now Google TV is well known and well liked, and to be fair, I can see why. It is nice and snappy, menus are pretty well laid out, and on this particular model here in the UK, I'm pleased to say that we get all the main UK catch-up TV services, such as BBC iPlayer, ITVX, 4 and 5, so that is great news. And of course there's loads more well-known apps such as Disney Plus and YouTube, and you can download plenty more. So fair play to TCL for going for a tried and tested operating system. Let's now move down to the LG C5, and this runs WebOS, and going through the menus are nice and snappy also. It's nicely laid out, and I'm pleased to say, just like the TCL, it has all the main UK catch-up TV services such as BBC iPlayer, ITVX, 4 and 5, and once again a whole load of other popular apps. So two very good operating systems, both run smoothly, so it's down to personal preference which one you prefer. Let's now move on and take a look at the design of these TVs, and first starting off with the TCL up top. So let's go in a little bit closer and round to the side, and we've got this lovely finish, and may I say very premium looking finish on the edge here, a brushed grey effect going on there, and it reminds me very much of my LG G5 OLED. Now moving further around to the back, and we do have this lump sticking out a bit more there. Would be nice if it was recessed back a little bit more, as when you come around to the side you can still see it a little bit. When you come around like that you can't, but yeah, if it's recessed back a bit that would help. But still not a bad design at all. Coming round to the front, and we can see some very slim bezels indeed, and dare I say it again, looks very much like my LG G5 OLED, which I'm sure you all know is a very expensive TV. And those bezels continue all the way down, being nice and slim, but it does get a bit thicker here at the bottom. But if we move to the middle, we can see we've got a TCL logo there and a bump there housing all our sensors. And then just over on the right hand side, it's very discreet, but it does say there audio by Bang & Olufsen, so you know we're talking premium sound. Moving on to the LG now then, and once again let's go in a bit closer, and a very similar looking finish on that edge there, but it is significantly thinner. That's because it's using OLED technology, so they're able to make it thinner, but it does get somewhat thicker at the bottom there, so you've got that bulge sticking out, which houses all the inputs and outputs. Moving around to the front, very thin bezels on here, and that continues all the way down and all the way across to the middle, where we also have a bump sticking out which houses our sensors. So two very nice looking TVs. Yes, the LG is significantly thinner, so may appeal more to some people, but again, to be fair, when you consider the price tag of the TCL, it is a very nice design, but without the premium price tag. Let's now talk remote controls, and first starting off with the TCL. Now, as you can see, it is quite a long remote, I'm not gonna lie, but I do like this brushed effect on there. It does make it look quite premium. It is all plastic, but then at the end of the day, you know, it's not an expensive TV. But what does feel quite expensive is this directional pad here. The rubber on there, honestly, is proper premium feeling. I do like that. You know, that's something that you're going to touch a lot, so you want it to feel nice, and it does. Now, we've got lots of buttons going on, but the most important ones, I say, are your shortcuts. We've got shortcuts there for Netflix, Prime Video, YouTube, movies, TCL channel and Disney Plus. So overall, not too bad when you consider the price of the TV, and to be fair, you know, they've got to cut back somewhere to get in those extra features. You know, I'd rather take a hit on the remote and have something like Dolby Vision. Now moving on to the LG, and this is smaller in size, as you can see just there. It's a nice ergonomic design, your fingers slip in there nicely. But this is a more glossy finish, which I've got to say, it does scratch very easily on the bottom, but you don't often look around there anyway. It is what they call their magic remote, so you get a pointer on the screen, you move the remote around and it follows suit, which is very handy. And once again on here we have shortcuts as well for Netflix, Prime Video, Disney Plus, Raccoon TV, LG channels and Alexa. Now whilst I'd say the LG remote is probably the better one out of the two, at the price point I don't feel it is that great actually. You know, it could be a better looking remote, maybe an all metal affair, but no, they've gone down an all plastic affair as well with that. So taking the price point into consideration is what I'd expect from TCL, but a little underwhelming what you get from LG for the premium price. Okie dokie, now it's time to test out the picture on these two TVs. Again, TCL up top, LG down the bottom. Now I've set both TVs to the standard picture mode, and I've adjusted the picture to match up as best as possible. Now, as I always say, please listen more to what we are saying rather than what you are seeing, because the image that you will see on your screen will be far different to what we are seeing in person. Now, for this test, I've got my son sitting in with me. He's not a TV expert, but his opinion is honest. So, tell me what you are seeing.
Top one, the colours are popping, they're a lot more brighter on the top one than the bottom one.
Yep, I totally agree with that, especially on those ladies' red dresses that have just walked past. Look far better on the TCL. The flowers there as well, they just look a lot more vibrant, don't they?
Yeah.
There's a bit of a difference in the tones of yellow. I'd say the LG's yellows are a bit more yellow and the TCL a bit more orangey yellow. But I've noticed that the LG does lean more towards the cooler tones and the TCL more towards the warm tones, as we can see on that brickwork just there. What do you think about the sharpness?
It's a lot sharper on the top, you can tell just by the yellows.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. On the side here, on these flowers, yeah, it just looks far more sharper and like it's more in focus on the TCL. So clearly the processor is doing a very good job there. And what would you say about the whites?
A lot more white whiter on the top one.
Yeah, again, I agree. Again, we can see on these bits just there, they just look, yeah, just more white, don't they?
Yeah.
Now I've just paused the video for a second. We're going to go in a little bit closer and just concentrate on this just here. Now, excuse any lines that you're seeing on your screen. That is just my camera. But this is the LG. Looks a little bit sort of out of focus. But if we go up to the TCL, we can see far more detail. And again, those whites just look whiter. Let me go between the two. So you can see that just there. Yeah, definitely better processing there on the TCL. Staying with the same shot, and we've got these flowers on the LG. Again, look a little bit blurry, but if we go up to the TCL, look how much more sharper and detailed they are. Again, if I just go between the two for a second there, yeah, that is a noticeable difference. Now what we're going to do is change up the picture mode. So on the LG, we're going to put it into vivid. I know not everyone is keen on me changing it up to these sort of settings, but I'm trying to please all of the people, and we'll also get to filmmaker mode in a minute. Now that we've got both in their vivid modes, what are you seeing now?
Top one is still brighter.
Yeah, definitely still brighter, I can confirm that. What about the colours? What do you think on that?
Colours are still popping. You can just see it on some of the, if you look on the reds, they just pop in.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the brightness levels on both TVs have significantly gone up. But yeah, the TCL is still stepping ahead in all areas there. I'd say the brightness, again, the whiteness on that bloke's shirt definitely looks far more appealing there. And that could be down to the Crisp Glow HVA panel on the TCL, which claims to offer a high native contrast ratio and deeper blacks and brighter whites. And to be fair, that is exactly what we are seeing. Now, once again, we're going to change up the picture modes to try and please as many people as possible. So for the purists out there, we are now going to change it up to filmmaker mode on the LG, and we are going to do the same on the TCL, and I thought I'd show this. So filmmaker mode there on the TCL, and we're both not a fan of filmmaker mode, are we? It's yeah, very juddery and a bit washed out looking. But anyway, what are you seeing? Which one do you think looks better and why?
Top one, it's a lot more white. Bottom one looks a bit yellow.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Again, on camera, it's emphasising it a bit too much, I say, but it looks more purple in the sky on the TCL, more of a blue on the sky on the LG there. Now, putting those colour tones aside, and like I said, the camera is making it look far worse. I wouldn't say there's a massive difference between the two images. You know, if you adjusted the brightness on the TCL, I'd say they are pretty close, to be fair. The TCL may be a little bit more juddery.
Yeah.
Some people like that sort of thing. Personally, I don't. It messes with my eyes. You don't like that either. So, yeah, when it comes to filmmaker mode, I would say the gap between the two is definitely far closer. Okie dokie, moving on to some SDR footage now then, and we're going to let this video run through and we're going to give our opinions on it, and then we'll also pause it on some sections and go in for a closer comparison. Both looking really good, but wow, on that, the TCL does look brighter. Colours looking really good on both, but on that, wow, again, I've got to say, I think the TCL's colours are coming through there. Yeah, yeah. Oh, and on that rose there as well. Oh yeah, on that scene as well. That is quite a bit of a difference, isn't it? And the whites. That TCL is really looking good. Oh, that is pretty bright, isn't it? Yeah. Right, so that was pretty interesting. And now what we've done, we've just paused it on this scene for a closer look. And what are you seeing on this?
Top one's definitely better on the colours.
Yep.
But the blacks do seem to be looking better on the bottom one.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Now, obviously, we've got OLED technology down the bottom where you're going to get your perfect black levels because the TV can turn on and off individual pixels. So the TCL is never going to be able to fully match what an OLED can do. But to be fair, its 1008 dimming zones are doing a very good job. So whilst the black levels aren't quite OLED level, we are still seeing some decent black levels, and it is maintaining all the stars there, where other TVs, some of those stars wouldn't even be shown. But I quite rightly agree with you that the colours on the TCL definitely look better. They are far more appealing. So on this scene it is swings and roundabouts. So moving on to another scene, and quite interesting because we noticed quite a bit of a shift this time around.
Yeah.
So what are you seeing on this?
The grass on the bottom one, the colours are just popping.
Yeah, it does look better, to be fair, on the LG. The grass looks darker on the TCL, but what about the clouds, would you
The
say?
clouds, you can see much more of the detail on the top one, but if you look at the bottom one, that all like faded away, all the details.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. The TCL is doing a better job with the clouds just there, and they are brighter for sure. And the overall image, sort of everything but the grass, seems to be somewhat brighter. But yeah, with the green of the grass, I'm leaning more towards the LG there.
Yeah.
So yeah, bit of an odd one that it's flipped this time. Now moving on to the next still, and this one should be pretty interesting. Got a lot of colours going on, but also some black in between the pots of paint. So first off, what do you think about the black levels between the two? You noticing any difference?
I'd say bottom one's a bit better for the black.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, but it's only a fraction.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, if I didn't have the OLED there, I wouldn't think that is bad at all. We are talking minute difference, I'd say, at the moment. And what would you say about the colours?
The colours, if you look on the reds, on the bottom, they're a lot more darker.
Yeah, same with the yellow there as well. The yellow on the TCL just seems a lot more yellow and brighter, doesn't it? Where on the LG, don't get me wrong, in person, if you know we weren't comparing the two, I think you'd be satisfied with that. But in this shot, it really does show the colour differences between the two and how things just look far more vibrant there on the TCL. Right, moving on to one more still now then, and what are your opinions on this one?
Top one stands out significantly. It's a lot brighter.
Yeah, now I totally agree with that. Now on camera it's blowing out, but in person that is really, really vibrant red. Look, red on that is lush and it is really nice. I mean, on camera, it looks like it's got like yellow bits going on, but trust me, in person, it's not like that. It is hard to get the two to adjust up because if I got that one looking right, then this one would be off. So please just listen to what we're saying here. Now, when it comes to the water droplets on the TCL, again, looking nice and bright, looking pretty good on the LG as well. But what about the black levels? That's the important thing.
Blacks, I'd say the bottom one.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. They are just that little bit blacker. Again, TCL does look very, very good indeed, don't get me wrong, but it is competing against an OLED TV at the end of the day. But what I do want to show you is if we go in real close, other TVs, you'll get a lot of blooming going on. But if we go in here, we can see around these water droplets, we're not really seeing blooming there. Other LED TVs, we'd be getting a halo going around there of light, which would make the image look a bit naff, if I'm being honest. But to be fair, the TCL, as we can see, is doing really, really good. Okie dokie, onto some sports now then, and the Formula One. Now this isn't so much to do with the actual picture, it's more to do with the motion. Now obviously with the F1 we've got some fast-paced action, so it should be easy to pick out which one is the best. But I've got to be honest, from what I'm seeing, there really isn't anything in it. I am really struggling to see any difference between the two. To be fair, they're equally as good. Now personally, I don't mind a bit of soap opera effect, so I'm generally very sensitive to a juddery image, but I'm not seeing anything that will cause me any issues. So from me, both get a thumbs up. Okie dokie, let's now compare the sound. And just like the picture, you're not going to get the full effect of the sound through your speakers at home, but what I'll do, I'll tell you what I'm hearing from both TVs. So I've gone ahead and set up both TVs to roughly the same volume level, so we're first going to start off with the TCL. That's sounding pretty good to me. Sounds lovely and clear on the TCL. Nice bit of bass there on the LG. Right, let's really now try and push both TVs and turn them up to their max volume. So starting off again then with the TCL. Yeah, that's pretty loud to be fair. No complaints here. To be fair, the LG is just as loud. Well, I've got to say, I thought both TVs performed very well. Now, to me, both TVs went more than loud enough, so no complaints there. I did feel the TCL was a bit cleaner sounding, but the LG had a little bit more bass to it. And before anyone mentions the units either side favouring the LG, I have tested the LG on the wall, and it made little to no difference on the sound. So there we have it then, guys. Two great TVs, two different price points, two different technologies. But which one would you choose and why? Please let me know in the comments section. Now do us a favour, and if you have enjoyed today's video, then please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you want to see more videos like this in the future, and hopefully I'll be catching you guys on the next one. Bye for now.